Welcome, Fright Night Vault listeners. Tonight we walk a valley where silence lingers longer than the seasons, and where one house stands waiting for every step you take. The valley was a hollow cradle of earth, its roads winding like veins between fields that had long gone barren. Fences sagged, barns leaned half dead, and the air carried no song but the wind's hollow whistling. For the postman, it was resignation, not adventure, that brought him here. He had traded the noise of city routes for this endless quiet, miles of gravel road, his only companions, the hum of the truck and the dull thud of letters dropped into hollow mailboxes. Yet one stop stood apart. The house at the bend rose pale against the trees, its windows black as eyes. 3 women lived there, sisters, young, graceful, and always waiting when his truck rolled in. Their smiles were warm, their voices soft, their hands quick to accept the parcels. Strange parcels, heavy, sealed with wax, marked with no names, only sigils etched into their sides. The postman thought little of it at first. Routine dulled curiosity, but the house drew him. Day after day, he found reasons to linger a moment longer on the porch, to catch their glances, to hear their laughter like silver bells muffled behind the door. Then the storm came. Rain clawed the valley, and a tree crashed down across the only road in. For days, no one left, and no one entered. The postman drove as far as he could, stopping only at the house that still waited, smoke curling from its chimney, windows watching. But on the 4th day, when he approached the porch, there were no smiles, no voices, only the door, cracked open, a shadow moving within. The postman's boots creaked against the porch as he leaned into the open doorway. Rain hissed through the trees behind him, but inside the air was still, thick, heavy, and damp, like a cellar that had never seen sun. "Hello?" he called, his voice low, uneven. The hallway stretched before him, tall and narrow. Its walls were lined with portraits, faces of women painted in oils, all with the same sharp cheekbones, the same hollow eyes. Each face looked different, yet too alike, as though copied from the same model again and again. Dust filmed the frames, but the eyes within gleamed wet, as if freshly painted. He stepped inside. The air smelled faintly of herbs, sweet at first, but under it lay the reek of something metallic, something raw. His gaze fell on the packages he had left the week before. They no longer sat in a neat stack. They were opened, gutted, their contents spilled across tables and floors. Glass jars lined the shelves, filled with blackened roots, pale fluids, and floating shapes that pressed against the glass when his shadow passed. At the far end of the hall, he heard them. Footsteps, 3 pairs moving in unison. A door opened, spilling amber light across the warped floorboards. The sisters emerged, dressed in pale garments that clung damply to their skin. Their smiles were wider than before, though none of them reached their eyes. "You came back," said the eldest, her voice like silk drawn over stone. "We wondered how long it would take," whispered the second. The youngest tilted her head, eyes gleaming. "The valley sent you to us. Didn't it?" The postman tried to answer, but the words caught in his throat. Behind them, the amber glow revealed a table set with care. Plates gleamed silver. Cups brimmed with a dark, steaming liquid, and at the center of it all lay something wrapped in linen, its shape unmistakably human, though far too still. The sisters parted, their hands beckoning. "Come in," the eldest murmured. "The feast is waiting." The postman's breath faltered as the sisters drew him deeper into the amber-lit room. The walls here seemed closer, sagging inward, their plaster split like cracked skin. Shadows crawled across the ceiling beams, moving against the flame of the lanterns as though alive. The table was laid out with ritual precision. Silver cutlery glimmered, bowls of herbs smoked faintly, and the linen-wrapped shape at the center dripped dark stains that bled through the fabric. He dared not look too long, for every glance made the form more certain. An arm, a foot, a face pressed beneath the cloth. The youngest sister slipped past him, circling with feline grace. She leaned close, her breath damp in his ear. "You've carried so much for us," she whispered. "Every day, every package, piece by piece." The second sister poured from a jug into a goblet, the liquid thick, black, glistening. She placed it before him on the table, her smile trembling like something barely concealed. "You must drink. To be part of us, you must take what we've prepared." The eldest lifted the cloth with delicate fingers. Beneath lay not one body, but many, all wrong, fragments fused together, bones sewn with twine, skins stretched, overlapping, faces stitched into masks that grinned with too many mouths. The postman staggered back, bile rising in his throat, his heel caught on the floorboards, which pulsed under his weight like a living vein. The house groaned, its timbers warping, the walls bowing inward as if the valley itself were leaning close to watch. The sisters' voices rose together, their words forming a chant in no tongue he knew. Their eyes blazed in the candlelight, pupils narrowing to slits. The goblet shook where it sat, the liquid inside roiling, climbing the rim as though eager to leap into him. And then the house shuddered. The portraits on the walls bled from their eyes. The knives laid beside the plates hummed, vibrating against the wood. And the sisters turned to him, arms outstretched, their smiles now bare of humanity. "You brought us everything," they sang, "and now you are the final piece." The postman staggered backward, his shoulders striking the doorframe, but the wood did not yield. It had swollen shut, pulsing faintly under his touch as though the house itself had drawn breath. He pressed harder, but the timber was warm, damp, and unmovable, like pressing against a living thing. Behind him, the sisters advanced in slow, deliberate steps. Their bare feet left wet prints on the warped floorboards, and each step seemed to echo not once, but 3 times, first in the room, then in the walls, and finally deep in the hollow of his chest. The youngest circled him again, strands of hair brushing his face. "Why do you resist?" she asked softly, though her teeth gleamed too long in the dim light. "This is what you were meant for. The valley chose you." The second lifted the goblet once more, the black liquid within rising unnaturally toward the rim. With each heartbeat, it grew taller, like a tower of oil threatening to collapse into his mouth. "Drink," she urged, voice no longer soft but commanding, edged with hunger. "It binds you. It frees us." The eldest remained at the table. With careful hands, she spread the stitched fragments across the linen. Faces slid free of the cloth, sagging and twitching as though they remembered the lives they once held. Their eyes fluttered open, their mouths worked silently, and from them came faint, muffled cries, the sounds of those who had sat where he stood now. The postman tried to cry out, but the air was thick, heavy, pressing his words back down into his lungs. He stumbled further into the room, tripping against the warped floorboards. They buckled, split, and revealed the crawl space beneath. It was not earth down there, but something wet and glistening, pulsing faintly in the glow of the lanterns. Veins ran through it. Flesh. A living foundation. The sisters' chant grew louder, their voices weaving in perfect harmony. The portraits along the hallway moaned in chorus, their painted faces twisting as rivulets of blood dripped down the frames. The knives on the table rose, trembling in the air, their points all angling toward him. Desperate, he lunged for the window. His fist struck the glass, but it did not shatter. Instead, the pane rippled like water, the reflection within alive. In the wavering surface, he saw himself already seated at the table, goblet in hand, lips blackened, skin stretched across bone until it cracked. The reflection smiled, though he had not. He spun back, breath ragged. The youngest slipped the goblet into his hands. The second tilted his chin upward. The eldest raised her arms, and the house shook as if in worship. He tried to resist, but the liquid moved on its own, climbing the rim, pouring itself into his mouth. It burned like fire and ice, flooding his throat, drowning his scream before it could leave. His body convulsed, and the floor beneath him split wider, swallowing the sound. The sisters pressed their hands upon him, fingers cold and strong. His skin split where they touched, light seeping out. Not golden, but a pale, sickly glow. His veins writhed, glowing against his flesh, his body breaking open like a lantern. The house roared. The valley shuddered. Outside, the storm died suddenly, leaving silence so complete it rang in the ears. When morning came, the road was clear again. The tree was gone, the path open. A passerby might have thought the valley peaceful once more. But the house still stood. Its chimney coughed faint smoke. Its windows gleamed as though wet. And at the porch, 3 figures stood, waiting, their smiles serene, their eyes faintly glowing. Only now, there was a 4th figure behind them. Another shape in the shadows, taller, broader, eyes hollow, mouth slack in a permanent smile. The postman had delivered his last package, and he had never left. Listeners, some roads are meant to end. Some doors, once opened, will never let you back out. And some smiles, no matter how warm, hide teeth sharpened just for you. Subscribe to the Vault and never walk alone again. Listen in the dark. Watch with the lights off. Beware the knock that answers itself. See you in the next story, if the valley still lets you pass.